India's #1 news network. And you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Very good evening. Thanks for tuning in to Unmissable. I'm Nabila, Jamal. Right here on News 9, we're going to take you through Prime Minister Modi's big message. Of course, this is India on high alert and India's decision to now move forward with stealth. I'm going to take you through the details. As always, the headlines first. The Prime Minister has now given out a big message at a high-level security meeting. The government sources say the Prime Minister has given a free hand to defence forces to take operational decisions on retaliation against Pakistan. Minutes after security meeting, Prime Minister Modi also met with Union Home Minister Amit Shah and RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat separately. Politics plays out over Pahalgam. The BJP has launched an all-out attack on the Congress, calling it Lashkar-e-Pakistan Congress. The Congress had put out an image of a missing body in Prime Minister Modi's attire. Basically, the BJP has slammed, calling them a Pakistan handler. India bans Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif's X account for spreading fake news on Jammu and Kashmir. His accounts, even on Instagram, suspended. Delhi Cabinet has cleared law to regulate school fees amid complaints of arbitrary hikes. A law that will be, of course, passed, but here is what has been drafted. A committee has been formed and it appears that the government has decided that any school that wants to hike fees will have to go through that committee. Approvals need to be sought before hiking fees. CBI probe ordered in builder bank nexus in Delhi NCR, Mohali, Allahabad, Mumbai and Kolkata. Of course, this is a huge development for all those home buyers whose properties are stuck with the builders not completing the project and they not getting hold of their investment. In the Pegasus spyware row, the Supreme Court says the findings linked to national security will not be disclosed, but importantly, Supreme Court is observing it's not wrong to use Pegasus spyware, but if it's used on civilians, on judges, on journalists, then that's a matter of concern that will be probed. Trump signs an executive order mandating that truck drivers in America are proficient in English. Sikh advocacy group raises concerns on that. Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney's Liberal Party, winning Canada elections, capping a stunning turnaround fueled by Donald Trump's tariffs and threats. Seems like the party has managed to come back. It is on a minority, but yet, well, they've won. Now, Prime Minister Modi's strong message, full freedom to the armed forces. Precisely what he said today. The world is watching. Of course, the nation is waiting to avenge the death of 26 innocents. Today, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just made his move hours after chairing a high-stakes security meeting with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and NSA Ajit Doval, as well as 3 service chiefs. The Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sent out a decisive message. As per sources, we hear he said India's armed forces have full freedom to choose how, when and where to strike back. No restrictions, no second guessing here, only one mission: to avenge the blood spilled at Pahalgam. Prime Minister Modi has reaffirmed complete confidence in the Indian armed forces, their professional might. He's made it quite clear that India is committed to delivering a crushing blow to terrorism. Today's meeting lasted for over an hour. It was a high-level meet, possibly the first that's happened right after the Pahalgam attack. The meeting that lasted for over an hour reviewed strategic military options at the highest levels. Sources say that ahead of tomorrow's crucial Cabinet Committee meeting, the CCS, India's response strategy will be outlined. It's now entering its final stages. Remember, after the first CCS meet, India had already taken sweeping actions, and that was to suspend the Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan, to close the Atari border, to cancel all visas for Pakistani nationals, and to downgrade diplomatic ties. These are harsh actions taken by India, but that's not it. There's more to come and could be much bigger than we've ever seen. Of course, this is different this time. India is not just responding diplomatically anymore. It's preparing to strike with full force of its will and the full freedom of its warriors. Prime Minister Modi there giving full faith on the Indian army here to see that they are the ones who will decide at what time, place that they choose to strike back. Of course, at this point, we are looking at Prime Minister Modi condemning terror, but it was not just condemnation, it was a strategy that was laid out to crush, this time aggressively. Let me take you through our panelists joining us right here on News 9. We have General Sanjay Kulkarni, former DG Infantry, who joins us live, Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary, former commandant of the Indian National Defence College, and Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, commandant and the Fire and Fury Corps in Ladakh, who joins us live, along with Kartikeya, who's, of course, our managing editor right here on News 9. Thanks very much, all of you, for making this time out. I know it's on short notice, but Prime Minister Modi's message was sharp and strong, maybe unprecedented. Never have we seen, at least in my living history, a Prime Minister coming out to say that the Indian army has full control. When the Prime Minister says that the forces have full freedom, what does that actually translate on the ground? Are we talking about cross-border strikes, cover operations, full-scale military engagement? Maybe our army and experts here on the panel could give us a little more sense. Sanjay Kulkarni, please take it away.
You know, these are all options which are being on the table, will be discussed, and not necessarily what the public would want or what the sentiments are all about. It's a question is when, how, and in what measure, and how would the armed forces would want to react. And that's it. So the various options are there. The kinetic actions are there. Then you have the non-military options are there. Some of it already there. Economic options are there. So all of them, multi-pronged attack on the source of terror, and how to ensure that the source of terror is destroyed. And similarly, whatever and whoever is working on their behalf in India also to be destroyed. So that's the way we look at it. Now to be able to say, well, the freedom is given and so it's going to start off tomorrow. No, it's not like that. The Prime Minister has given his mind that you're now free to choose your time, how you intend to go about it. Aim is to destroy the source of terror. Please go ahead. That's what the Prime Minister tells them. Now they work out. The CDS is there, the three chiefs are there. They'll work out how to go about it, what is the requirement. So much of coordination is required, so much of it would have to be done, and therefore the various meetings that are going to take place tomorrow, be of economic affairs, be of the CCS and everything, and then all of them have to come on the table and then be able to again present to the Prime Minister that this is what is we can do, this is what it would we would require more or less or whatever that be so, and then the Prime Minister takes a call. So that is what it is all about, and therefore I do not see anything that, well, the freedom of action has been given and therefore the armed forces start off tomorrow launching attacks and all. No,
we are interpreting this, and as your in your best knowledge, you say that this is not a call for action that we may be wondering. Of course, most of us in the country today are looking and staring at a picture that could be grim, but something that India should do to avenge the innocent lives, the death of 26 people. Of course, there is the word of war in the minds and mouths of almost everyone that I've spoken to. Common citizens are really looking and staring at that direction. Now, what does Prime Minister Modi's message really mean? If Kartikeya could break this down for us. Kartikeya, is this reassuring the Indian public, the Prime Minister, in an unprecedented move? We've never seen an Indian Prime Minister in my living time coming out to say that the Indian Army has the freedom. I trust them. It is at their choosing time, place, action will be taken. What does this mean?
I think there are a couple of takeaways. In context of narrative, Nabila, Prime Minister, is trying to educate the public opinion. He's trying to tell them that military take the call, let the generals take the call, let them decide what needs to be done in terms of deterrence, let them decide the strategy, let them take control of the tactic. He's also telling us, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that decision of statecraft are not incumbent on popular opinion. Elected governments should respect it. He has respected the public opinion by saying it a couple of times, I would say a number of times, that Pakistan will be taught a lesson. But how will they be taught a lesson is something that should be left to military. Secondly, Prime Minister understands very well that this is neither Uri nor 2019. There are no elements of surprises right now. It has to be done differently. There are two active war theaters in the world. Prime Minister's stature has risen tremendously in last 10 years. He is the only leader who has been able to meet Putin and Trump and say that this is not the time for war. So Prime Minister understands that the position India finds itself in, and he knows that he is the one who has broken this concept of strategic restraint. In 2014, Prime Minister said that we would calibrate our action in a way that there'll be a cost to the Pakistan. And why should we look at Indian action of the military or the Navy or Air Force, there are two other wings, in context of a singularity? I think Prime Minister is seeing it from a larger perspective of multiple actions over a longer range of time, like salami slicing, coercive action, creating economic, political, military pressure on Pakistan, squeezing them on LOC, squeezing them on Siachen, which will have collateral damage on them. Those are the issues which we don't know. But I think as a journalist, maybe he's thinking in a larger and a broader way, not in singularity, which a lot of people say that, okay, it has to be something like Uri or it has to be something like Balakot. Maybe there's a bigger picture which may pan over a larger and a longer period of time. But I would say fundamentally, Nabila, it's also an attempt to educate people. That is why there are multiple meetings and statements are being put in public domain.
For more on that, Air Marshal Deeptendu, if you could give us your sense on the message that's coming from the Prime Minister. Does this really open the doors for a 2016 style surgical strike or a Balakot type of airstrike, or something in your view maybe even bigger or different?
Thank you, Nabila. Yes, just yesterday, I think on your show, it mentioned that, I'm sure the leadership is clearly at work and they'll take the right decisions at the right time. And that's exactly what has happened. And what is interesting is that it's a very, the approach, like what was there in probably Uri and in Balakot was done in a very different manner. It was done more sort of behind the scenes. This time, the political signaling, the strategic signaling that is coming from the PM's actions and the statements which have come out is an entirely different story this time.
Yeah.
It is exactly what we discussed yesterday, a cool, calm, collected decision where he's given very rightfully the freedom to the armed forces to act. And it's not just the army, it's to the Navy and the Air Force as well. So the armed forces to act. He's done it with the presence of not just only the CDS, but the three chiefs as well. So it's a very clear political signaling that, look, everyone's core competencies, all cards are on the table, and that there's a free hand, which is the first time it is happening since 1971. Indian Air Force per se was, in any case, restricted in operations in all wars except 1971. Even 1999 in Kargil, we couldn't go across. But this time, the fact that full freedom has been given opens out a whole lot of options, and there are enormously hardcore professional people whose bread and butter is doing this.
Yeah.
We are all not in uniform anymore. The people who are on the job, I'm sure they are doing a fantastic job putting their heads together, putting all the options together. But what is important here is the clear strategic signaling and the political message it has been put out to the nation and, of course, our neighbors and the world.
When the Prime Minister says the army is capable and they will choose their time and place, there's no room for doubt that this will be a strike. Operationally speaking, General Sharma, what are the factors really that the forces need to weigh in? The timing, the terrain, international pressure that could come with it. How quickly can India also hit back, if at all a call is made?
Thank you, Nabila, for inviting me. And I think my co-panelists have covered it elaborately. I would like to see what has been said and what has been left unsaid by the statement that comes from the Prime Minister's office. Obviously, there must be some things which have been unsaid and which have been for the forces to follow through. I mean, there is something which is a little more. What would the political hierarchy tell the armed forces? They'll say we'll want a sustained deterrence. It will last for a period of time. It is not one-off. Neither the Balakot nor the surgical strike were deterrent enough, because if you see the statistics, subsequently the terror continued. In fact, the terror sustained. In fact, after the curfews were lifted on both the times in J&K, the terror was increasing. So, both were not deterrent enough. Second, there should be authenticity of operation. You must guarantee the operations being carried out must be authentic, must be available on visuals and as well as any other method, and they must be given to the public, saying that there is authenticity of operation. Third one is that there should be no face saving for Pakistan to subsequently say that they are the victors. And in any which way, any loss that we incur while doing our operations will be a shabash that the Pakistanis will give to themselves. That makes the deterrence that we wanting to achieve insufficient. So, while saying what the Prime Minister would have said, there would have been some kind of broad guidelines laid down for the defense forces, the armed forces, to plan their operation. And those guidelines are more relevant than saying what time and your place of your own choosing. So there can be many operations that can be carried out for a sustained period of time. It is to ensure that there should be no shabash that the Pakistanis give themselves subsequently after the operations are over. And, when we talk deterrence, it means deterrence. That's what I wanted to say.
To all my panelists, for the moment, I'd like to draw the attention of our viewers to Pakistan constantly saying it wasn't me. That's what Pakistan has reiterated time and again to its allies as well, saying India is blaming us for no reason. And now to expose Pakistan's stand here, let's take a look at what the investigation shows. The Pahalgam terror investigation has unearthed some damning evidence, solid, undeniable links tying the attack straight back to Pakistan's military establishment. At the center of this dark web here is Hashim Musa, a Pakistani terrorist who's no ordinary foot soldier. Musa, in fact, was once a para-commando of the Pakistan's elite special services group, the SSG. Trained in covert operations, mountain warfare and tactical assaults. That's a man you see on our screens here. This is a man who was sent across the border, not by accident, but by design. Remember, he's not a freelance terrorist here. He's a trained army person. Pakistan state machinery, he's managed to be trained by them, and he's walked in to Indian soil and designed the entire massacre that's killed 26 innocents. In fact, we hear Musa was loaned by the Pakistan army to the Lashkar-e-Taiba to execute high-precision terror strikes in Jammu and Kashmir, and yet Pakistan denies its role. In fact, we have forensic and intelligence trails that have traced the attackers' links to safe houses in Muzaffarabad and Karachi in Pakistan. Interrogation of over a dozen Kashmiri overground workers reveal that this man Musa's army expertise shaped the entire Pahalgam attack. The evidence shows very clearly Pakistan backed the handlers, provided weapons, logistics, reconnaissance from across the line of control. This isn't cross-border terror. This is certainly cross-border warfare launched by Pakistan first, with Pakistan's own trained soldiers at the front line. Remember, Pakistan has long denied its hand in any kind of bloodshed in Kashmir, Pahalgam of course, but often denied any role in terror activities that happen in that region. But when an ex-SSG commando turns up orchestrating a civilian massacre, Pakistan's lies collapses under their own weight of truth. Hashim Musa is the proof that the world cannot ignore. We are, of course, now waiting to see if the world will condemn this. Pahalgam has ripped off Pakistan's mask, especially with this man here, the SSG commando who worked with the Pakistan army, solely responsible for designing this massacre in Pahalgam. A lot more investigation that needs to come out on this. I'm going to bring in my panelists to give us a little more clarity on what this means. Sir Diptendu, if you could give us a little clarity on Pakistan denying its role, but here forensic evidence clearly shows how an SSG commando trained by the Pakistan military, was responsible in designing the Pahalgam massacre?
So what is new? 1947, 1965, the initial bit, 1999 in Kargil. They have denied every bit of their actions. This is nothing surprising. This is part of the Pakistani game plan, which is, I think, playing out because they know the tenuous state their state is in right now. But it's nothing surprising because, like all roads, once upon a time used to lead to Rome. I think all terror acts in the valley, most certainly, and in J&K, most certainly lead across to possibly the GHQ. So I think there is a huge challenge here that terrorism is obviously very difficult to put out, but it's not that it comes at a huge amount of effort. But the point is, this time with the lines having been crossed, Pakistan and the way they have raised the ante, they have sort of said that okay, they have broken the Simla agreement. They have changed the parameters of the game, and now they would like to obviously disengage themselves from this terror attack because the army will get, as it is cornered. And I think if it continues in this manner, it is best to put in a deniability right in the beginning. But the fact is, I don't think they're fooling anybody, and I think very knowledgeable panelists will clarify this.
Yeah, I'd like to bring in General Kulkarni on that as well. Sir, how do you see Pakistan's refusal to admit? Of course, I mean, one couldn't expect any better. Pakistan will not admit it. But the fact that an SSG commando trained by the Pakistan army manages this entire Pahalgam attack, the massacre where he's targeted innocents, maybe the first time that we've seen innocents who were targeted. It was strategic that innocents will be killed, and largely of a certain faith. This man trained by the Pakistan army, yet the country refuses. Now, through a diplomatic lens, Prime Minister Modi's signal of army being prepared and they having the freedom to go ahead with what they want, how they want, when they want, what signal does this send out to Pakistan and to the world, to all of Pakistan's allies who could be our allies as well?
See, Pakistan has always been in a state of denial. It will never ever accept. Did it accept what it did in Kargil? Musharraf himself used to say, I don't know who they are. I really don't know who they are. Till we killed all of them. And then we told them, come on, please bury your soldiers. Here's the identity card. This is the number. This is the regiment that they belong to. And still you wouldn't accept it. So that's Pakistan for you. It is much later that you hear that, yes, they have, then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said this, then their army people did accept it, and now you had the Defence Minister now say, yes, for the last 30 years we've been doing it. So many statements have come out that Pakistan was involved, Pakistan, the NLI was involved. So it's all part of it. Pakistan is in constant state of denial. Pakistan will never ever accept what they're doing because that's what Pakistan is all about. Has Pakistan army ever won a war? Have they ever lost an election? They've never lost an election and never won a war. So that's what Pakistan army is all about. It's nothing to do with an army. They can't win a conventional war. Pakistan will remain in a constant state of denial, and Pakistan is the entire 5.5 lakhs of troops. They're all terrorists. They've only been trained for it. So this is what they keep doing, and this is what they are. They have decided India is their enemy. Constantly hate India, bleed India with 1,000 cuts. That's what Pakistan is doing all about. From, like the Air Marshal saying, absolutely right. Right from 47 onwards, what have they done? Nothing, and they continue to do it. And that is why the Prime Minister this time has been very serious. He says, let's finally try and sort out this issue once and for all. That's what his plan is. That is why he's told everybody, come on, let's work it out and see how best we can ensure it. That's what Pakistan is all about. But the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without a fight. And therefore, multi-pronged attack, multi-pronged measures are available to us to be able to tackle Pakistan. Because Pakistan, there's no denying the fact. How did Pakistan get into financial action task force? How did they get into grey list? There's so much of pressure. And India, Pakistan has been isolated. Everybody knows that the hub of terrorism in the world is Pakistan. Why else would they have Osama bin Laden a kilometer away from the Pakistan military academy? Everybody knew.
And
that point
their
of time,
foreign
America
minister
was at its
almost
best.
admitted it in an interview as well, saying we've been doing the dirty job for the UK and the
30 years.
US for decades, and now we are suffering. Now, if they've been doing the dirty job, which means they've really set up an ecosystem that's robust enough to carry out something like this. They could be in denial, but in every interview, in every statement, you have glimpses of which that's exposed. A quick word from Karthikeya on this. Karthikeya, the steady momentum that India is building up. We first suspended the Indus Water Treaty. We've downgraded diplomatic ties with Pakistan. We've sent out all Pakistanis from the country. Their diplomats have been declared persona non grata in India. There's really now no room for any kind of friendship with Pakistan at this point. If anything, it's only military action next. And now with Prime Minister Modi's statement, if I could get those visuals of the meet, the high-level meet Prime Minister Modi had with his statement to the armed forces, is it inevitable, a military retaliation?
I think I would agree with the larger consensus in this panel that we have to see this in plurality of action. A lot of people see military action in singularity. Even in 1971, it's part of the written accord, data available. Indira Gandhi wanted action in Bangladesh, but the Indian army was the one, which told Indira Gandhi, then the general, very categorically, that madam, you need to wait for some time. It's all recorded. So the Prime Minister of our country, then Indira Gandhi, went by the advice of the general. And then the whole, assault on Bangladesh and the way Mukti Bahani was being trained was delayed for a certain time. So that's one. Secondly, one point I would like to bring in. You see, who are we dealing with? We are dealing with two problems here. One, we are dealing with a state which is a proxy state. People call it a hard state. It's not like India, robust democracy, professional army, institution, peaceful transition of power. We are a post-colonial oasis. Look at Bangladesh, look at Pakistan, look at Myanmar, look at Nepal, look at, I'm sorry to use the word even, Malay, you look at Sri Lanka, look at Afghanistan. We are a democratic oasis with a professional army. Professional men run this army. Pakistani army, though trained professionally, is run by unprofessional people with no larger political objective for their country. These men, they have become the custodian of their country. And second thing is, Nabila, which is historical. Pakistan has always been a proxy state for the British, so that they act as a buffer between the Soviet Union and their larger interests. For the United States of America, for the number of the Afghan wars they've fought. And third, China, which is the emerging power right now. It's a proxy state. So they, our strategic initiative, our diplomatic offensive gets blunted there because they're serving a purpose. Tell me which country is helping Pakistan so much these days? It's Turkey and China. Who was helping Pakistan 20 years ago? It was United States of America. And how did Gilgit Scouts become active? At the time of when the accession to Kashmir was being decided upon. It was UK. If you look at the archival notes, it was UK which actively participated that, the entirety of the JNK was not with India. So my point is very simple. We are dealing with a proxy state. We are dealing with the Pakistani army whose sole aim is to be the custodian, and that's the character that needs to change. The character of the Pakistani army. That is the big problem. The statement by Asif Muni, the problem they have in Balochistan. I think India is on the right path. I agree with General Kulkarni that it has to be a hybrid action. Grey zone warfare has to be conducted in Pakistan, that they have no respite. When I say no respite, people say that our forces get no respite. I have covered Kashmir. 30 years in this profession. I have seen men in olives working hard 24/7. I think it's time to punish them 24/7. It should not be a 1 day, 2 hours, 3 hours affair. And I completely agree when he said it should be visible, demonstrable, and so that public could believe in Pakistan should not be able to contest the way the Balakot they tried to contest. And I think all those things must have been taken into consideration by Pakistan. So, I think we are looking at a very different thing. I'm not a military expert that way, but as a journalist who has covered army as a beat, I think that it's going to be different. These are the thoughts which come to my mind, Nabila.
Yeah. Finally, my final question to General Sharma, Prime Minister Modi's statement, how unprecedented is this? I've said it repeatedly myself that I haven't seen it in my history, that at the time that I've lived, of a Prime Minister saying that all hope and all power and control with the army to decide what to do next. A public a statement which has not been said in public but in an internal meeting, but this is basically a strategy building method, we understand, by the Prime Minister and his high top level security team, where they've decided that the military will be taking the next action. Does this also, reassuring the armed forces and affirming that the government trusts the military entirely, boost the morale on the ground of our forces?
Thank you, Nabila, once again. I absolutely agree with what Karthik has said in the last part of this his thought process, which said that what we have to achieve is authenticity. We have to say that what we hit is hard and solid and over a period of time. Let me say what's the difference here. The difference is that this is a change of tack. This is a time when Pakistan and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto said that, we will eat grass or make a bomb. The whole state, whole country of Pakistan is eating grass. Yes, they have a bomb. So that's the state of their country today. Now, this is the change of tack. In last 25 years, the Pakistanis have not, no terrorist has ever hit a tourist. Total number of tourists killed in last 25 years is only 45, which also includes the pilgrims, which are not actually tourists. This includes Mata Vaishno Devi, Amarnath Shrine, which are now fairly secure. So they never hit a tourist. They never hit an apple trade. It's a given in there. This is the first time they hit tourists and they hurt the sentiments of the grassroots public here. This is a change of tack for Pakistan, the operations being carried out here. And this couldn't have done by indigenous and ingrown terrorists, because it hurts the whole population. The population go against the terrorists and the terror acts for having hit their livelihood. This is a difference. This is not what is happening. Second, in 2000 we had 2001 we had 4,000 people killed in 1 year. Last year we had only 127 people killed. In terrorist and security forces combined together, there is a change of culture here. We had in the course of last so many years done fantastic work. I'm not saying terrorism is dead. It's not dead, but then it is in embers. So this is a time that it was necessary to hit the people in this manner. That's why it's a deliberate operation. I will not say it has happened because General Munir 4 days ago made a statement about this two-nation theory and all that. This required operation over a month of planning. It is General Munir may have been a catalyst to this one. Yeah. But actually the planning would have been done in the month of March. It can't be one fine day they land up here and spray bullets and have 70 people injured. So this is a different. So when the government of India decides that, okay, we will have to take a sustained action, and they have taken an act of war. You see, nothing hurts Pakistan more than IWT. That's why they said, they are not saying you hit by aircraft or you hit by ground forces. That are not act of war. They are not worried. IWT, they say act of war. That's what is Dukti Rag. His jugular vein, which he talks about, is water. It's not anything else. Kashmir is a identity issue with Pakistan. They want to bind their country together. Keep saying Kashmir, Kashmir, Kashmir. Otherwise, the country will split into pieces. So Kashmir is an identity issue, but IWT is an act of war, and they have gone across and branded. One chap says, "Hamare paas pav pav ke bomb hai." Can you imagine? Pav pav, other pav ke bomb hai. What a very shameful way of saying it. I wish to say, let the forces take 1 day, 2 days, 1 year. Let them stew in anguish as to what's going to happen. Why? There is a public opinion, there is a public pressure, there is anxiety here as to what answer we're going to give. Let's start doing short-term actions on IWT. Open the water canal, which starts from Aknoor and Keshtar to Jammu. Shed some water. All the Ratley dams and all the Kishan Ganga dams, start pushing somewhere. At least make some difference. Open the Salal gates. Let the water go away. Let the silt go down there. Let's flood their water, and then stop the water to make the reservoir again. Start playing games. That's sustained. It's not one action that military does or 10 actions that military does. And then I will end by saying, is this an era of war?
Yeah.
I mean, finally, everything can escalate to a war. So is this going to be an era of war? Something which we have openly stated is not an era of war. When you see Ukraine and Russia are fighting for last 3 years. Russia, big country, fighting for 3 years. Are we wanting to fight for next 3 years? I mean, are we ready for this kind of a role? We have to plan our operations militarily with great amount of rational thinking and sanity. It can't be today, it can't be tomorrow, it can be after 6 months. But it should not be done in a hurry to prove a point. That point will be proved only by keeping the pressure on in any which way. As General Kulkarni, my good friend, says, cyber attack, put a space thing, and you make life miserable. Make 2 ships stop 2 ships and research the ships as to what the hell are they carrying. Every which way that you can do it, let's do it. It's not a question of taking military action alone. Thank you.
All right, very well said. I really appreciate all our panelists joining us for tonight. This is unprecedented for a Prime Minister to be saying that he holds absolute faith and trust in the Indian Army, and they now will decide to react at the place and time of their choosing. This is huge, and it speaks of retaliation.
If you say Indian Army, then the Pinto will get annoyed.
Sorry?
Indian Armed Forces.
Air Marshal, thank you very much to you too. Thank you all of you, sir. Thank you. All right, on that note, I'm going to slip into a short break, coming back with a lot more on India's reaction, action and strikes on Pakistan. Stay with us.
I need expert performance. I need my carrier.
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
News 9 Corporate Badminton Championships in collaboration with Pullela Gopichand Badminton Foundation is here for all of you to experience the passion and network. This is a great opportunity to experience your childhood memories and also be part of a corporate event which enhances sportsman spirit in all of us. Wishing you all the best and hope to see you here.
Presenting sponsor, Srinidhi University, Kindle the Light Within. Venue partner, Pullela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad.
Mama must be missing us, na?
Let's take it for a spin, give me one day. Feel the itch under my skin, it's a one day. You believe it when you see me and done, hey. It doesn't matter, just gotta get going.
New GT line, Tygoon and Virtus. Volkswagen.
You have donned many hats: screenplay writer, director, producer. But who is Kiran Rao?
I am a speck and I am not even a blink in time. Your identity is always sort of defined by the men in your life.
The crux of this imbalance is the financial independence, that disparity in financial independence.
I think marriage needs redefinition. You change your name, not just your last name. Women used to change their name.
Would you ever sit back and think, am I on a springboard? Am I ready to take the next big leap?
Work doesn't entirely define me. I mean, different days I'm the first and different days I'm the latter. If you're not doing the next big thing, then are you even relevant at all?
Watch Radico Presents Duologue with Paruntas, Season 3, featuring Kiran Rao, at these times on News 9. News 9, English news as it should be.
Welcome back. Now, India has already begun striking Pakistan, but in the cyberspace. In a sweeping cyber crackdown after the Pahalgam terror attack, India has now blocked the X, formerly Twitter, account of Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif for spreading fake news and stoking disinformation on Kashmir and allegedly promoting terrorism. Now, the IT ministry has also banned multiple Pakistani journalists' accounts linked to ISI and ISPR, accusing them of amplifying anti-India propaganda after the April 22nd massacre that's killed 26 civilians. This is how these accounts look right now. India has reached out to X and Meta individually, urging them to pull down these accounts as they are stoking tensions in the country and dispensing false information. Alarmingly, some of these journalists still continue to work with some Indian media outlets, raising serious national security concerns as well. This marks India's broader move now to seal its information space after the worst terror attack in Kashmir in nearly 2 decades. And now remember, a very important action that India has taken at this point is to crack down on Proton Mail. Security agencies are flagging Proton Mail, an encrypted mail service now linked to fake bomb threats and terror plots. Proton Mail's refusal to share user data shields both legitimate users and, of course, some bad actors, making it even harder to track cyber threats. So this Proton Mail could have been the catalyst for many communications that could have been anti-India. Other untraceable platforms like Alpha Mail are also being exploited by criminals and terror networks on the dark web, which the Indian government is now investigating to see if that could be means of communication. With end-to-end encryption becoming the new weapon of choice for terror groups, India, of course, is now ramping up its cyber shield, making it quite clear terror online or offline will be crushed. Meanwhile, India has launched a sharp attack on Pakistan at the United Nations, accusing it of openly supporting terror. Days after the deadly Pahalgam attack, India's DPR at UN, Yojana Patel, exposed Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif's recent televised confession where he admitted to harbouring terror and claiming that he did the dirty work for UK and the United States for years, basically admitting that terror breeds on their ground. This was Pakistan being exposed at the UN meet. Listen in.
It is unfortunate that one particular delegation has chosen to misuse and undermine this forum to indulge in propaganda and make baseless allegations against India. The whole world has heard Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif admitting and confessing Pakistan's history of supporting, training and funding terrorist organizations in a recent television interview. This open confession surprises no one and exposes Pakistan as a rogue state fueling global terrorism and destabilizing the region. The world can no longer turn a blind eye. I have nothing further to add.
All right, now you have other actors in Pakistan who've been slamming India and saying this is an India insider job. And that was Shahid Afridi, one of them, a former cricketer who basically has been spewing venom, blaming India for the Pahalgam attack. The former Indian opener Shikhar Dhawan has now responded in measure. In fact, Afridi was speaking to Pakistani media, accusing India of killing its own people, calling the Indian army as useless. He further mocked India's security apparatus, saying even if a cracker bursts, India will blame Pakistan. Now, in a strong rebuttal, Shikhar Dhawan has posted on his platform. He says, and I quote, "We defended you in Kargil as well. How much low can you stoop? Instead of making pointless comments, use your energy for your country's development." Dhawan's remarks reflecting the overwhelming sentiment right now across India, where emotions are certainly running high after the Pahalgam tragedy. The country at this point, cutting across political lines, have come together to stand united, mourning the victims' deaths, calling for a united front against terrorism. India, we know, has now banned visas to Pakistani nationals. Pakistani media and celebrities, their accounts have been cracked down here in India. And of course, this could make someone like an Afridi completely rattled and isolated. Now, while India gears up for possibly a bigger retaliation, the Indus Water Treaty was the first attack. Pakistan's water wars that now break out. Now, the Indus Water Treaty was not the only one that has upset Pakistan. Its own internal crisis seems to be crippling Pakistan. It's staring at a water crisis of epic proportions, and this time the fight is internal as we see protests now that rages on. Thousands of people across Sindh in Pakistan have been on the streets blocking highways and ports. Over 7,000 trucks stranded, factories choking without raw materials. Protests have paralyzed the country itself. And what you should know is that this protest is due to water again, and not because of India. It's their own doing. The Cholistan Canal project, part of Pakistan's flashy new Green Pakistan initiative. 6 new canals are being dug up. It's being dug off the Indus River to turn Punjab's deserts green. But downstream in Sindh, the fear is real. There's less water, there's more salt, dead farms, dying rivers. Sindh already suffers a 62% water shortage. Soil salinization has crept in now, making that water almost useless. Sea water is pushing 100 kilometers up the Indus Delta. Now, with even more diversion that's being planned, Sindhis in Pakistan warn that this could spell death of their agriculture and fisheries, their very way of life. And it's not just about water, it's about power. Much of the land being irrigated lies in Punjab, in Pakistan, deepening the old fault lines of resentment between the provinces. What's made it worse here is the army's leading role in pushing that project, fueling anger over transparency and fairness. Ruling PPP-2 is caught in the crossfire, accused of first nodding to the plan and now opposing it under public pressure. Pakistan, of course, at this point battling water crisis, not just with the Sindh Canal, but also with the Indus Water Treaty that India has snapped from. India is quietly reviewing the situation, Pakistan internally bleeding. The country can't share water from within. What will it do if India squeezes water from across the border? A quick break on that note. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Ball, please.
I am my dear cool. ये एयर कंडीशनर नहीं, AI कंडीशनर है.
Smash your way to glory at the News 9 Corporate Badminton Championship. Get ready for the ultimate badminton showdown. News 9 presents the biggest corporate championship, a battle of skill, speed and supremacy. Cash prize of 6 lakh rupees across categories. Venue, Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad. Dates, May 9th to May 11th. A chance to showcase your talent and make a mark. The court is set. Are you ready? Register now.
Presenting sponsor, Srinidhi University, Kindle the Light Within. Venue partner, Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad.
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every seam, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
Welcome back. Now, India is clearing out Pakistani nationals from the country. It's begun large-scale deportation. Today is the final day for all medical visas to lapse. Pakistani nationals in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack have been asked to leave. Uttar Pradesh becoming the first state to achieve near total repatriation. All Pakistani citizens in UP, barring one on a medical visa, have been deported. That lone individual is currently under constant surveillance by police and intelligence agencies. The state government has confirmed on this. Following the centre's directive, Yogi Adityanath-led government also began identifying Rohingyas and Bangladeshi nationals as well. And this has been happening across India, not just in Uttar Pradesh. Rohingyas, Bangladeshis also now being sent out in speed. In Jammu and Kashmir, meanwhile, authorities have rounded up about 60 Pakistani nationals, mostly wives and children of former militants who returned under the 2010 rehabilitation policy. They are being taken in buses to Wagah border for deportation. Among them is the mother of Shaurya Chakra awardee killed in a terror attack. The crackdown follows a series of strict national security decisions after the massacre in Pahalgam, including the suspension of Indus Water Treaty, downgrading diplomatic ties with Islamabad, cancelling all visas of Pakistani nationals, all collective action to show Pakistan that this time we will not forget.
मुझे आए हुए 35 साल हो गए हैं। उस दौरान इन्होंने मेरा वीज़ा भी मेरे पास है, हमने वीज़े के लिए अप्लाई भी करा हुआ है, लेकिन मेरी नेशनलिटी के लिए भी हमने अप्लाई करा हुआ है, लेकिन आज तक वो मुझे नहीं मिली। अब मुझे इमीडिएटली इन्होंने बोला रात को 9:30 बजे कि भाई आपने बॉर्डर क्रॉस करना है। मैं यही गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से यही अपील करना चाहती हूँ कि इतना क्यों मतलब कर रहे हैं हमारे साथ। मेरे बच्चे यहाँ पे हैं, मेरी मैरिज हुई है, मुझे 35 साल हो गए हैं सर। मेरा क्या कसूर है इसमें? बताइए, इसमें क्या जो कुछ हुआ सबका हमें भी अफसोस है, हमने भी कैंडल मार्च है, हम भी नारेबाजी है। हम कहते हैं ना, करो जो करना है वहाँ पे वो कर दीजिए आप। इसका क्या मतलब है कि आप जो अपने बच्चों के पास बैठी है एक औरत, आप बताइए 60 साल की बूढ़ी वहाँ पे क्या करेगी? कौन है? माम की डेथ हो चुकी, बाप की डेथ हो चुकी, 2 भाइयों की डेथ हो चुकी। ठीक है, कोठी इसकी जो थी वो जो भाभी थी वो बेच के तो शी हैज गॉन। अब वो ये किसके पास वहाँ फुटपाथ पे रहेगी क्या? ये तो कोई नहीं है ना कि कैसे मतलब कि आप निकाल दोगे किसी को। आप ये कहोगे रात को 9-9:30 बजे बेल बजाओगे कि जी ये आपका नोटिस, सुबह आपको चलो निकलो यहाँ से।
All right, now we're looking at a massive crackdown that's taken place in Ahmedabad, the municipal corporation there launching Operation Clean, basically demolishing illegal settlements near Chandola Lake, many of which were reportedly occupied by Bangladeshi nationals. Action followed intelligence inputs and a directive from the Gujarat Home Ministry, which had earlier ordered the removal of unauthorized structures. You see it on our screens there, that were allegedly built by illegal immigrants. According to the Joint Commissioner of Police Crime, Sharat Singhal, over 100 Bangladeshi nationals had been identified as illegally residing in the Chandola area. Listen in.
ये जैसा कि आप जानते हैं आसपास चंडोला तालाब है और इस पे पहले भी कामगिरी 2009 में की गई थी। फिर से इन लोगों ने गैर कायदेसर मिलकत स्थापित की है। अभी एएमसी ने जो सर्वे किया उसमें पाया है कि इन्होंने जो तालाब की ज़मीन है, जो सरकारी ज़मीन है, उस पे मिट्टी डाल के झोपड़े बनाए हैं और एक उन्हीं के द्वारा ये आज डिमोलिशन की कामगिरी की जा रही है। पुलिस ताकि जान हानि ना हो और कोई लॉ एंड ऑर्डर स्थिति ना उत्पन्न हो, उसको ध्यान में लेके पुलिस बंदोबस्त रखा गया।
7,000 से ज्यादा लोगों को असामाजिक कैटेगरी में हमने आइडेंटिफाई किया है। अभी तक जितने असामाजिक गुंडा तत्व थे उनमें से करीब 373 असामाजिक तत्वों के विरुद्ध हमने इलीगल डिमोलिशन की कामगिरी की है। करीब 1046 ऐसे असामाजिक तत्व थे जिन्होंने अपने घर में, बिल्डिंग में इलीगल बिजली का कनेक्शन रखा था। वो बिजली
Now, power supply was initially cut off at these settlements before moving on with the demolition drive that had 80 bulldozers, 60 dumpers, over 2,000 police personnel, including the State Reserve Police, were deployed to carry out this large-scale demolition drive. Drone surveillance was used to monitor this operation real time. The operation is considered as Gujarat's largest ever demolition drive, with their civic body AMC and their teams across 7 zones participating. Authorities have said the drive would continue over the coming days with debris removal happening on a rolling basis. Demolition is being tightly coordinated between the AMC, Police and Home Department of Gujarat. All right, we're taking you through a story that, of course, will have a universal appeal across India. This could be precedent set. Delhi Cabinet has approved a draft bill to regulate school fees in both private and government institutions, aiming to curb arbitrary hikes that have angered parents across the capital. The bill, once passed by the Delhi Assembly, will bring fee structures under government regulation for the first time in the city and maybe across the country. The move comes after several complaints from parents of steep fee hikes by schools, and many of the schools eventually would send out students if they didn't pay up that added fee. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, who chaired a meeting, said that this bill proposes a 3-tier committee to oversee and regulate fee increases. Education Minister Ashish Sood added that previous governments had failed to set any rules to prevent such hikes, but they are looking very carefully into it. Now any school wants to hike school fees will have to go through a committee. The committee approves, then the hike can go forward.
आज आप सभी को बताते हुए इस बात पे बड़ा हर्ष महसूस कर रही हूँ कि दिल्ली सरकार ने एक ऐतिहासिक और साहसिक फैसला कि आज ड्राफ्ट बिल हमने कैबिनेट में पास किया है, जो कि दिल्ली के सभी स्कूलों में, वेदर दैट इज एडेड, नॉन एडेड, प्राइवेट और हर प्रकार के स्कूल, दिल्ली के 1677 स्कूल जो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स हैं, उनमें फीस को लेकर के पूरा का पूरा गाइडलाइन, पूरा प्रोसीजर तय करेगा। और पहली बार इतिहास में दिल्ली सरकार के द्वारा ऐसा बिल बनाया जा रहा है जो कि अपने आप में फुल प्रूफ है। पूरा प्रोसीजर डिफाइन किया गया, अथॉरिटी डिफाइन गई है, उसमें पेरेंट्स की भूमिका, उसमें स्कूल की भूमिका, मैनेजमेंट की, डायरेक्टरेट की और सरकार की।
Remember, the action follows a complaint about some private schools, particularly in Model Town, that allegedly raise school fees sharply and expel students for non-payment. Now, the government has stepped in, pulling up some schools. They were sent out notices to ask why school fees was raised without prior notice, or at least in a strategic manner where it's not difficult and heavy on the parents to pay up. In fact, they were pulled up, and now the government has decided to formulate a law itself that will encompass all private schools. They'll have to now consult with a committee before they decide on raising school fees. That's it for me here on Unmissable. You could log on to News 9 social platforms to get your daily dose of news. Thanks very much. I'm going to be right here, same time, same place tomorrow.
My dear cool. ये एयर कंडीशनर नहीं, AI कंडीशनर है।
एंटरटेनमेंट आज दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी इंडस्ट्री में से एक है।
There's a new world coming. We could take advantage of that.
Channel your passion into purpose.
We are going to prevail.